Hey everyone, it's Michelle here with the Beet Goes On Podcast, and we have my dear friend Averil on, and she's the owner of JW Salon. She's so much more than that though. She comes in and gets spray tan at Beet Tan, and when she walks in, I immediately smile. Her presence is she's just such a joyful person, but also on top of that, we're very like-minded, and we use our time together to usually empower or get vulnerable or hug or whatever, make the other feel better. And we vibe on that aspect so very hard. So I thought I wanted her. I get so much out of having her around for the little bit of time. It only takes about 15 minutes to get spray tan, so it's usually little bitty time. But she just leaves me feeling fresh and better, and that's why I wanted to have her on the show, is because I know that she'll do that for you guys too. So I'll let you take it away and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Well, hey guys, my name is Averil, like Michelle said, and I own JW Salon, which is in downtown historic Savannah, which is such a beautiful place to have a space. And I'm just as equally enamored with you, Michelle, because you're very uplifting. You know, I am human. I have so many insecurities, and coming in and getting a spray tan, I'm like, oh goodness. And you're always just like, you're so beautiful. You're so wonderful. I'm like, thank you. Because I shake the table. I'm going to use my hands, and we're going to get all jazzy with it.
I like it. We both are handsy, so I'm like holding my knee because otherwise no one will be able to hear anything, because we're both very handsy when we talk. We have a lot of similarities.
I've never done this, so I just shook the table, and now I'm going to hold my hands.
Oh, you're good. It's okay. People will understand. Right. We're all human here. The one thing that we vibe on together specifically is leadership. Mm-hmm. I train on spray tan. I have spray tan partners, but you have how many stylists?
So in terms of staff, I have 12 people under me. And
then you lead, she leads in the community in other ways. She damn sure does me. But I really want you to talk about what leadership means to you, because I know that we share that passion.
Yes, it's a huge culture, is a huge passion of mine. And I did not realize that one of the main aspects of culture when you're an owner is to lead. And so that was kind of
scary.
When that came down the line, which I'm happy to go into. Yeah.
Please.
I've been a hairstylist for I think 16 years now, and owning is something I always wanted to do. Now, I'm not going to lie, I thought being an owner or being a boss just meant like telling people what to do, like just dictating to people, telling people what to do, bossing people around. I did not have the emotional intelligence or the scope to realize that really leadership is serving others, and it's growing others, and it's seeing potential in others. And so when I first bought my business back in May of 2016, so May 1st is my 7th year owning. So that's
Beet Tan is a May birthday too.
Really? Mm-hmm. So that's so exciting.
We gotta get together.
Yeah, celebrate.
I love what you just said, so I want to keep going with that because it's so powerful.
Yeah. So I bought this business, and there were existing employees at the business, and I came in, and I had my passion, and I had my business degree from Kent State University and all my years. And I'm like, I've got this,
Yeah.
Who's not going to want to work for me? I know what stylists want. They want education. They want to feel like they have a happy place to work at. I would call it arrogance and ego and pride, which every leader has to have.
You were doing the best with what you knew and what you had at the moment.
And so, it started out really well because I was very confident. But then as development started to happen, and that's with people, as people started to happen, because in almost every business you have some person. If you have a company where it's just you're working behind people, then maybe it's just customers. But any service industry usually has some form of employees with them.
Right.
And so those are the people I'm talking about in this case. And as people happen, as their own insecurities, as their own fears, as their own desires and wants, and as all these things started to surface, it was crazy how much I felt like a lack of control happened. And I'm someone who desires control. Yes. And so I didn't know what to do with that. I had no coping skills with the...
You mean everybody didn't do what you thought they should do? I had to think.
Who would have thought? It was was so funny because I really went into this thinking, well, everyone's going to want to work for me. So it's just finding the clientele. That's going to be the hard part. Nope. It was the opposite. I found the clientele, but people did not want to work for me. And so what happened is after about a year and a half, I had a walkout. I had a complete salon walkout.
You mean everyone walked out?
I did not know
this.
Person, except for the front desk person, who the front desk person just was new and, she wasn't a part of it. But every single person had gotten together and conspired, and they all planned.
Gosh, that makes my heart hurt.
Yeah, to walk out, and they all went to the same place. I think all but one went to the same place. And so I am not going to take responsibility for the walkout because that was something that was their choice. They could have chosen to come and talk to me. They could have chosen to quit on their own terms, individually talking to me, seeing if there was anything I would do. So I won't take responsibility for the walkout, but I will take responsibility for everything that happened prior to the walkout.
Right.
Because as I said, I lacked complete coping skills with just all the insecurity that I felt as a leader or as an owner. I was not a leader. And what I did is I brought it all into the salon. So what that means is I tried to garner sympathy from people. Nothing will break down trust faster than trying to gain sympathy or doing false vulnerability. So I was trying to gain sympathy. I would say things like, well, who knows if we're going to even make it till Christmas? Who says things like that? But
you were broken.
And honestly, I thought that would rally the team. So it just shows, guys, listen, leadership is a skill. You can be wherever you're at today and you can grow and you can get better at it.
Thank you so much for telling. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I honestly have never heard anything negative about you. So
that's nice. Yeah. Thank you.
And nor have I experienced anything negative. So, my perspective has been so positive. But I think you get what you put out. And I have had, since I've met you, I too have had very trouble sometimes in the business prior.
Yeah.
But when I'm around you, I have positivity, so I think we just kind of ping that off of each other, with our relationship. But
and you're not alone.
Exactly.
Like you're not alone, and you're not alone, and I think I felt completely alone. Well, I didn't feel like I deserved to be an owner, and that comes from my childhood and the way I was raised, and then I carry that into adulthood. I can release that.
We were together Thursday night, and I was around her team, and her team loves her, and is very supportive. So how did you get from such a rough place as a new business owner and not as a strong leader to a position of a strong leader in the community and in your business? That's
a really great question. And so the way that I got to where I am today is that I looked at myself. So I had a choice. And I won't lie, I cried every day for 6 weeks after the walkout. I never felt more broken than I did in that moment. Yeah. And it was very sad. I don't like to use this word anymore, but I'm a Christian, but not like what people know of American Christian. Right. I have faith in God and Jesus Christ. And I literally just was like, I am dust right now. So God, surrendered. You have to make something of me. And every day I'm like, I just want to file for bankruptcy. I just want to file for bankruptcy. Because I still owed on the business. And
you wanted to give up.
I wanted to give up. And every day my husband's like, I just don't think it's time. I don't think it's time. And I'm so thankful for him and for his ability to sit with me as I'm just crying. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do. I have an incredibly, my pastor, but my friend, I called him up and he came and he was just with us, and he didn't tell me everything was going to be okay. I didn't know if everything was going to be okay, but every day I made it through and I did not give up. My clients still showed up.
Now, it was really brave of you to just surrender that control, which is what I struggle with too. But when you prayed, you just surrendered that control and said, I can't do it. I need some help. And that no matter what your higher power is or where you are connecting spiritually and knowing that you don't have to have it all figured out.
Well, and that's what I'll tell you guys. No leader has it all figured out. We aren't leaders because we have it all figured out. We're leaders because we see potential in other people and their ideas, and we have the courage to develop it. And so that's from Brene Brown. That's not from me.
Yeah, and I love that I'm also reading right now, like my go-to right now is Gabrielle Bernstein. I love her.
I'll have to write that name down. I try to write names of all.
I love her. I've got 6 of her books on my desk. I'll give you one. But but I love that we can read something and it hit us and then share it. And that's why I have this podcast, because it's a platform to share, all of it. It's not my words. And that's the beauty of sharing and caring and being vulnerable, is we can take something so awful and make it beautiful and put it out there. And that's what you did in this whole scenario. And I was with her staff on Thursday, and they adore her.
Well, I adore them. They are
such good energy, and that's a reflection of you.
And that's the reflection of our hard work. So one thing I've learned with hiring is I look for people who are coachable and self-aware. And I pretty much can see it within about 6 weeks if someone is or not, because there's some hard conversation that has to be had when you're a new employee. You're learning, you're growing.
Right.
And
you have to be in alignment with
you have to be, exactly. And so every single person on my team is self-aware and is coachable. And I don't shy away from hard conversations. And going into a hard conversation, you're not going to know how that conversation is going to end. But what I choose to do is to look at that person and believe the very best in them, go into the hard conversation with whatever I know to be true, and then listen. And listen to them and listen to what they're saying, who they are. And then we just keep developing that communication, and we walk through it together. And then when you come out the other side, you're stronger. So this is a group of people who have walked through so many hard conversations, because you can't run a business without hard conversations. Like it's impossible. There is something that's going to happen.
Right.
And each one of them is willing to sit down and say, okay, here's what's going on. Here's what the facts are. And the facts are the emotions are a part of the facts. What people are feeling is valid and should not be disregarded. If you disregard, then you're disregarding the humanness.
And that is a women-owned business, right there, buddy.
Well, and
it really is. It's. Yeah. I mean, I'm no man, but I've worked in a man's world.
Yeah.
And now being a female business owner, emotions are just as equal as the facts for me. These are people's lives, livelihood. They are with me when they are not with their family. They are doing stuff for my company when they are not doing stuff with their kids, with their dogs. I'm a dog lover. Yeah. And that is I take that very seriously.
And so, you bring up a man's world. Like, sadly, we're all trying to rise up in a man's world. I could speak on that for hours.
Yeah.
Same. This is why I love you. But what we're talking about is toxic masculinity. And so there are so many men out there who are leaders. They do lead their employees. They do pour in. They do see the potential and grow it. They do speak with emotional intelligence. They do. And, as someone who does that, you're not going to be in the limelight. So we don't always see them. What we see are the people who don't act that way, because it's so harmful
and louder.
It's louder, and it's so harmful to our communities and to our country and to our world and to our cultures, that we see it because it's breaking people. And so
when Beet started to grow, and I think this is just something, since you're so vulnerable, I'll throw something out there. As a single woman, when the business started to take off and I got in the dating world, I was in the dating world. I've been in the dating world, but when the business started to get bigger and people started to notice me and recognize the brand and the business I was building, I had imposter syndrome, I guess that's what they call it. And I quickly kind of latched onto a successful man in the community. And this wasn't my last boyfriend. This was the boyfriend prior to that. It wasn't their fault. I latched onto them because I felt people would take me seriously standing beside this man because I went from bartender to business owner. I put myself in a position where I was not in love. I was not in alignment. And I was not connected to this man. In fact, my friends were like, who the hell are you right now? Then I still didn't know I was doing that. I did it again. Now, this man I think I very much loved, but I still was out of alignment. And a part of me choosing him was I felt like somebody. And now I'll be damned, I feel like I am healing myself and spending time with myself. And I deserve to take credit for what the hell I've built. And I don't need some man beside me for this community to make me feel like I'm good enough. But there was some weird... And it was in my head. No one actually feels that way. It was a narrative I was playing in my own head, and I felt more confident. How sad is that? That I felt more confident.
Safe. You felt safe.
Right. I felt I really did. And actually I was not, because I had not put myself in a safe position. So I'm taking it very, very, very seriously. So what I did do, and we'll go into what we did Thursday night, I signed up for everything. I was like, I'm not saying no. I'm going to give back to my community. I am good enough. I'm going to show up in the community. I'm going to show up for my employees. I'm going to show up. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to speak to the world. I'm going to give people a voice. I'm going to do Dancing with the Stars for the Alzheimer's Association. I'm doing this all. I'm going to spread love to the world and better myself. And I'll be damned, it worked, but I'm tired. And so Averil and I had a conversation because Averil actually won Dancing with the... So I'm doing Dancing with the Stars for Alzheimer's May 20th of this year, 2023. She did Dancing with the Stars for CASA.
Yes, for Savannah CASA, which is one of the most important
it really is
nonprofits out there. So go ahead and just Google Savannah CASA and go ahead and get yourself involved in that. Yes.
I am. I'm going to start volunteering and... Yes, I went to the event. So we went to the event Thursday night because Averil was the winner last year, and
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Sorry, 2 years ago, and I had heard how great she was, and so when she came to get a spray tan, I was like, you got to let me inhale some of that confidence you had because I have heard about it, and I'm going into doing this, and gladly was like, come with me. I'm at the VIP table. We're sitting in front. Because she's a previous winner, so she...
Well, and so my salon we donate the hair and makeup.
And sponsor it,
Yes. So
she had the ability to give me a seat, is what I meant by that. And I was front and center. Meanwhile, I had an employee misread the appointment book, and somebody was trying to get in my store, and I was standing in front of a lot of, right behind the judge's table. I was like, I can't really deal with this right now. Anyway, that was business owner.
That is business ownership right there. That is it at its best right there.
But she was so sweet to invite me, and it was good to share that I think we both have been through some pretty weird times in business, and we've been, knocked down and drug around, and even by ourselves too.
Well, and any person that delves into leadership is going to get knocked down. I just have to say, Brene Brown describes it so beautifully, and I actually think of it. Actually, this is Theodore Roosevelt made this speech, and it's amazing. It's in her book, Daring Greatly. And so I can't quote the speech. I don't have the book. I'm sure I could look it up, but I won't, even though I want to so bad.
So tell us the context of it.
So he talks about that you're in the arena, okay? So imagine a colossal arena that is filled with people, and you are down in the dust. You are sweaty, you are bleeding, you are broken. You are the one that is getting up every day and going in and fighting for what you believe in, fighting for people, and you're just... like I said, the dust is around you. You could be knocked on your knees. You could be knocked on your butt, and you get back up. And that's what a leader does, is they get back up. And then you talk about, the people in the stands, and you have to really choose who you listen to as a leader, because the people in stands, Brene talks about it, and I'm going to quote her a lot because I'm very much immersed in her literature right now, but she talks about the cheap seats. And it's very easy to criticize someone who is out there putting themselves out there because it's safe where you're at. But you put yourself out there and you need to know who your people are, that you will listen to those voices and not the voices of the cheap seats. It's
that's such
it's incredible.
Advice.
Yeah.
And I love the way that you worded it. And it's really where I'm in the happiest place. So I went through the trenches. Like I went through
you were in the
separating myself from a person I was dating, which was really hard because there was a lot of love there, to the business was growing and I was like, I don't deserve this. I am freaking out.
Imposter syndrome.
Bad.
I just want to put a word to that. Imposter syndrome.
Bad. I had it bad.
I have it. Directors of companies have it.
Yes. The most successful people in the world have it.
Yes.
And I was going through it, and I'm telling you, I just kept going. I kept going, and I showed up for myself, but I showed up for others, and I chose love over fear. And that's not something you can just be like, okay, I choose love over fear. I have to wake up and every single morning and throughout the day say, I choose love over fear. I choose love over fear.
I love you so much. Because that's so brave and so courageous. I'm sorry. Keep going. I just want to hug you, but I can't because I have all this stuff.
And this is what we do when she gets spray tanned. And this is what I want to be in the world always. It's my true passion. It's what I want to do. And this is why you were on here, because we resonate on that. And I knew by getting your voice on here, we would. We are going to take a little break because I think both of us just want to hug. And then we'll be back.
Summer is finally here, and everyone wants that perfect tan. But why put your skin at risk of sun damage and aging when you can get a gorgeous glow the safe way with Beet Tan? Our organic formula derived from beets gives you a flawless and natural-looking tan without any harsh chemicals or UV exposure. Plus, it's fun and easy. And if you want to join the Beet Tan team, we're hiring. We're looking for spray tan technicians and administrative help. Submit your resume to hello@beettan.com and join our fun and exciting team. Have a safe and fabulous summer with Beet Tan. Let's get glowing. Visit us today at beettan.com.
And we are back. So I want to get back to, we touched a little on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to that because I'm training right now. In fact, I have to train today. And
I'm so excited
and
for
I
you.
know that Averil kicked ass when she did. In fact, she won. So let's talk about your experience with
First
that.
of all, big shout out to Michael Ferguson, who is the best dancer and choreographer out there. So
him and Sabrina Madison are helping me with mine. So I'm very lucky to have two talents. But
and Sabrina is incribly talented,
and they work
well.
really, really well together.
Yeah. So Dancing with Savannah Stars is the yearly big fundraiser for Savannah Casa, and it's incredible. It's so much fun. It is people who get out there and they learn a dance. Sometimes they dance with a professional dancer. Sometimes they dance by themselves. Sometimes they dance with one or two friends. But it's really about dancing, and it's about kind of stretching yourself to learn something new. But then you also raise money for this organization. And I know you're doing it for Alzheimer's, but I can't wait to see you in your moment on stage being who you are, just doing it in dance form.
Yes, and the people that are showing up, I think what's really touched me is all the people in my community and in my company that have really shown up for me. When I did my first fundraising event, it was a bingo game. There were so many people there. They were sitting on the floor. And
That's so cool.
I was trying to call
so
bingo
inspiring.
and I was teary-eyed, but also in shock because I was like, B12. People were still walking in, and I was like, what the heck? So were you just as touched by the people who showed up with the fundraising as they did?
I was.
The party?
I had so many people that showed up for me. I didn't raise quite as much money as you have, though. And I think I got really scared to put myself out there.
Yeah, I was
and
scared.
so that was, it was so scary for me. I definitely could have done more. And I love hearing how you're doing it. I hope to dance again. And I just want to
You should do the one for Alzheimer's, and I should do the one for that.
Right? I'm so inspired about how you said you're saying yes to everything. That is one area that I definitely lack in, is that I kind of cocoon myself in my salon and with my employees, that I am just now starting to kind of put feelers out into the community. And it's very scary. It's very intimidating. And so I'm really like, you know, you help encourage me, and then, you know, my husband helps encourage me, my team helps encourage me. Like, there's so many people that do encourage. It's like, it's
so much more than dancing.
It is. It's so much more. But when you say you're tired, that's my fear. My fear is being tired.
Yeah. And then, like what you said earlier, you just keep getting up and showing up. And I don't know, we're really resilient people if you just allow yourself to be resilient. And I will say, from my very traumatic childhood, I lost my dad really young. I have a very resilient, I can bounce back. I had 5 stepdads. I lost my dad tragically in a car accident. My mom was pregnant with my sister when he died. Oh my gosh. And I was 3. And so I think that resilience, you know, I'm learning where to put it. Yeah. Where before I would put myself in, I would stay in relationships or friendships or say yes to the wrong things, and that resilience was not used in the right direction. Why not use it for giving back to my community by giving people a voice on a platform like this? And I'm also really silly and funny. So through all of this self-work, I just have to say this, through all of this self-work I'm doing, I just want to be stupid again.
I love that you say that, because I'm silly and goofy
so
too.
Heavy. It's been a little heavy, and I found myself out the other night, and it was Thursday night, the thing, and I was like, everything was like touching me. I was so emotional. I was like, all right, girl, you got to start freaking laughing again. Because everything, I just wanted to hug everyone. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I turning into Jesus? Like, because everything was just so, I was so present with what everyone was saying and feeling, which is really beautiful. Yes. And then I got home and I was a little exhausted.
Oh, it's emotional exhaustion for sure, and physical exhaustion.
Yeah. So I'm like, I
we
just want
danced
to be
too.
silly and have fun. The podcast I did before this is with my friend Emily. We're drinking tequila because I quit drinking for 60 days. And I was like, you know what? Let's just drink and talk about not drinking. Let's just be silly. So I think with everything that we're doing, and we have to, and you do a good job of that. She doesn't drink at all, and she is full of laughter and fun and joy. And so that's what I got out of Thursday night, just watching you dance and be so silly without any help. So, I mean, at all. Like, you were so fun and joyful to be around. I had a blast. I had so much fun.
If you want to see how silly I am, go on my Instagram, Averil Hull, and I just posted a video of me singing with the music.
I love it. She's the best.
Well, you know, my fear is being tired, because I'm afraid when I'm tired, I won't be able to cope with the things I have to cope with daily. And so it's funny, I am silly and goofy as well. So I'm very serious, but then I'm also very silly and very goofy. I love to laugh. Laughing is my favorite.
And you have a great one.
Thank you. And so I want to get on Instagram more, and I want to start getting myself out there. Put
that energy out there. Yeah.
But I don't know how. I don't know how to be goofy on Instagram yet. So that's something I
think don't think about it. Right. I think it'll come more natural to you. Of all people, I think man, you know what book you need to read?
What? Tell me.
Steve Harvey Jump. It just says do it. I love that man. Like, I'm really into reading female books, but Steve Harvey just does something to my soul. I love that man.
No, I love that.
Not in like a sexual way. Sorry, Steve Harvey. But, I
don't think he'll mind.
I don't. But like, he really like speaks to I like the way he speaks, and his book, I'm reading one of his success, Think Like Success Now, but I read Jump, and it's a really good book for
it sounds like I need to read it.
doing it. And I think even something as simple as like being funny on social media, I think you wouldn't, I mean, when I'm silly on social media, people are always like, girl, look at you being you. Like, people appreciate me being an idiot. And I actually appreciate me being an idiot, too.
Well, and you're not being an idiot. You're being joyful and you're loving life and you're expressing like your inner joyness with your soul. It's so
imperfections.
beautiful.
Like I can
no human
make
is
mistakes.
Perfect. Yes.
And I can talk about them on social media.
And that's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think
that's so cool because whatever mistake you made, there's thousands of people out there that have made the same mistake.
And
we all feel like we're alone in our mistakes.
Okay, so let's go back now that we're wrapping up and coming to the end of this wonderful episode and interview. I don't feel like it was an interview at all. It's just a conversation I always have with you.
Right.
Also,
we just happen to have microphones.
It's always wonderful. I want to go back to the original. You gave such a wonderful, vulnerable story about your business and something that happened to you that not a lot of people would have the courage to say, on a podcast or to anyone. Let's go back to that and talk a little bit more about the other side of that experience. Yeah. Once you dealt with everything you needed to deal with, and what led to becoming what happened to led to this great leader sitting with
to where I am today, which I still have. I will be growing every day for the rest of my life. I still had, I hired immediately and I was still hiring the wrong person. And it's like, I knew it now though. I recognized that they weren't the right people. And so I started to delve into that. And then finally it's like, I got one good person who was really strong and could help me be more strong in that moment. And then I got another good person. And then I got another good person. And then I got a not so great person. But then this time, instead of, when I had these fears and insecurities, I would go home and I would think about them and I would put words to them and I would try and read something on them. I would not just push them down or push them away.
And it's not like anything's wrong with you or them. It's just out of an alignment. They're not in alignment with what you desire for your business. I just hit my face on the mic, but that's
okay. I did it earlier. Yeah, we just can't not do it.
And sometimes people don't like it, and it's like no one has to walk away with guns ablaze and here's what I will true to yourself and your business.
Yeah, and so one of the saddest moments I had of becoming an owner was realizing that in certain people's stories, I'm the villain. And that's just going to happen sometimes, especially when I don't have hard conversations right away. There was someone that I hired, and within 4 weeks, I knew, I was like, ooh, this is a red flag. But I kept letting it go, and then a year and a half later, we split, and there's just, it's not healthy. It's not a positive split. It's it's a very traumatic split. And so anyways, I was still kind of doing things like I would stick my head in the sand when a hard conversation had to happen. And that's one of that you just don't ever want to do that. A conversation never gets easier. It only gets harder. So if you just tackle it right away, then you're able to walk through it. But I hadn't really developed the trust. I had these good employees coming in, but I didn't know how to be vulnerable and build trust. And so that's what I have been working on slowly. And then I was introduced to Brene Brown's work, and I have a book over here. That's why I'm pointing over here. But I was introduced to her work, and her work is it's incredible. It's incredible. I highly recommend. I think every owner needs to read Dare to Lead. You'll be blown away. And so I just slowly started working on things, and by the grace of God, it has grown and evolved to where now I am now doing leadership courses with my team. So there's 6 seminars.
Cool.
And I work with 3 people at a time, and we work through the Dare to Lead book and the workbook. And it's been life-giving for not just me, but for my team. And I'm also seeing the way my team is growing in their lives. They're working for me, and I've just seen them evolve from, they're getting married, they're buying homes, they're taking these bucket list vacations, they're saving money, my business is not the wealthiest business in the world. I'm not the wealthiest person in the world, but my my team seems to be flourishing, and we have seasons
that's
where it's really
amazing.
hard, but they're having babies, they're taking maternity leave, they're coming back, they're still coming back to like a strong clientele. My goal is to have employees, stylists behind the chair working 32 to 34 hours a week, making six figures, and that is happening.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's because they are working smarter, not harder. Mm-hmm. They are coachable. We have one-on-one meetings every month.
Love that.
I have team meetings every month. I have a business coach. I have a finance coach. I have a therapist.
Same.
Get yourself a good therapist.
And I just started. So how long ago did you start doing it? I just started doing this in January.
Therapy?
Well, therapy and the business coach.
So my business coach I got in 2017. My finance coach I got in 2018 after the walkout. And then I've been getting therapy since I was in college. I luckily had the forethought to start.
So I started therapy end of last year, October of last year, and then the coaching, the life and business coaching has just started in January. In fact, I just graduated my first and continued.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But
That's
you know what?
huge.
I didn't know that you did that. That's what's so crazy. I've always felt like this connection with you, and here we are, you know, making similar decisions, and I can see, you know, how special your staff is, and how much that it was like being with sisters. I don't know. It was like a very family vibe, and the fact that you care enough to do a leadership program within the business is amazing. I've been sharing things like crazy, and my team's getting closer and closer. And, you know, I mentor these business owners, these spray tan gals that have their own women that have their own business, and I take it very, very seriously.
Yes.
So that's where, you know, as we close, that's where Averil and I, that's where we connect. That's where we align. And that's why I wanted to have her on. And I want to have her on again because I know there's so much more to be said.
Yeah.
And I do know from past guests that will listen to it and then be like, man, I wish I would have said that.
Right.
So when you do listen to it, take it. And then anyone out there who has more questions or was touched by this, please DM me or Averil. Mine is Beet Goes On Podcast on Instagram. And then what's yours?
Mine is Averil Hull. It's just V as in Victor, ERILHULL. Or JW Salon, also both good Instagram accounts. You can DM on both of them. I would love any questions, any conversations, anyone who wants to get coffee.
We'd love to serve.
I
really do.
I love just connecting.
Yeah.
I love people.
Well, I love you, and thank you so much for coming on. You're I love it. We're going to have you back on. I love you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.